Here is a company that manufactures over 1 million units every single year, generates $10 billion in revenue, and yet you literally cannot buy their product. This is not a supply chain failure. This is a masterclass in value manipulation. Today we are breaking down the secret empire of Rolex. From the 4 fortress-like factories in Switzerland to the underground gray market where prices jump 100% overnight. Here are the 5 stages of total market domination that turn a piece of steel into a global currency. Number 1. The Fortress. Most luxury brands are just marketing firms. They buy movements from one company, cases from another, dials from a third. They assemble them and slap a logo on the dial. Rolex does not do that. Rolex practices absolute vertical integration. They don't just assemble the watch, they make the machine that makes the watch. They make the tools that fix the machine. It starts in Bienne. This is where the movements are born, the engine of the watch. For decades, a separate family company called Egler made these movements. Rolex bought them. They bought everything. Now, over 2,000 employees work in Bienne making the Rolex in-house calibers. They produce every single component, the hairsprings, the balance wheels, the escapements. This is not about efficiency. It is about control. By owning the manufacturing of the movement, they ensure no outside supplier can ever throttle their production. They are immune to the supply chain shocks that kill other companies. Then there is Acacia's, the headquarters. This is where the final assembly happens. This is where the green seal is earned. Every watch is tested to accuracy standards that are double the industry norm. If a supplier fails, production stops. So Rolex removed the suppliers. They built a fortress around their production line so that the only thing limiting the supply of Rolex watches is Rolex itself. Number 2, the alchemy. This is where it gets ridiculous. Rolex is not just a watchmaker. They are a chemical engineering firm. They have their own private gold foundry in Plain-les-Ouates. Look at this graph. They don't buy gold bars from a bank. They refine their own alloys. They created Everose gold. It includes platinum in the mix, so the copper doesn't fade over time. No one else has the recipe. But the real secret is the steel. Every other high-end watch brand uses 316L steel. It is surgical grade, it is shiny, it is perfectly fine. Rolex uses 904L steel. They call it oyster steel. This is an alloy usually reserved for the aerospace and chemical industries. It is incredibly resistant to corrosion. It shines with a unique brightness when polished. There is a reason no one else uses it. It is a nightmare to work with. It destroys milling machines. It requires specific tooling and higher temperatures. Rolex had to replace their entire inventory of production machinery just to work with this metal. The cost was astronomical. So why do it? Because 316L steel rusts eventually. 904L does not. This creates a product that is physically superior to the competition. When you hold a Rolex, it feels different because, chemically speaking, it is different. This is the foundation of the value. They over-engineer the materials so the product becomes indestructible. Number 3, the Magic Kingdom. There is a myth that every Rolex is handmade by an old Swiss man with a monocle. That is a lie. Rolex is a masterpiece of industrial automation. According to Morgan Stanley, Rolex produced approximately 1.24 million watches in 2023, 1.18 million in 2024, and 1.25 million in 2025. You cannot make 1.25 million watches by hand. The supply chain inside the factories is run by robots. These bots retrieve trays of parts from secure vaults and deliver them to workstations. The initial assembly of the movements is automated. The testing is automated. But here is the nuance. The critical steps are human. The setting of the hands, the regulation of the balance wheel, the final quality control. They use robots for consistency and humans for judgment. And they are expanding. They are currently building a new $1.1 billion facility in Bulla. It will open in 2029. This is a massive bet on the future. They are preparing to ramp up production even further. Look at this bar chart. For context, Patek Philippe makes about 70,000 watches a year. Rolex makes 20 times that amount. They are a mass market manufacturer disguised as a boutique artisan. They have industrialized luxury. And yet, despite pumping out over 3,000 watches every single day, the shelves are empty. Number 4, the gatekeepers. Rolex itself does not sell watches. Rolex sells watches to authorized dealers. This is a crucial distinction. Rolex is a wholesaler. They ship their watches to a network of independent jewelers, better known as Rolex ADs, or authorized dealers. These are the gatekeepers. Rolex strictly controls everything about them: the furniture, the lighting, the display cases, even the exact shade of green on the walls. But they do not control who gets the watch. The waitlist is not a list. It is a ranking system. The dealers receive a shipment in a sealed box. They don't know exactly what they are getting until they open it. Maybe they get 3 Submariners. Maybe they get 0. They have to decide who gets those watches. They give them to the clients who spend the most money on other things: jewelry, diamonds, less popular watch brands. This is the relationship. You have to pay to play. Rolex knows this happens. They officially discourage it, but it serves their purpose perfectly. It ensures that the people wearing their watches are the high spenders. It keeps the brand exclusive, even though they are making 1 million watches a year. Number 5 is the catch, the gray market. This is the shadow economy that drives the entire machine. Because you cannot buy a steel sports model at retail, a secondary market exists. This is where the laws of supply and demand actually apply. Take the Rolex Daytona. The retail price is around $15,000. But if you walk out of the store with one, you can sell it 5 minutes later to a gray market dealer for $35,000. You literally double your money instantly. This is the artificial scarcity loop. The high gray market price drives more people to the authorized dealers. The dealers get overwhelmed. The shelves stay empty. The hype grows. Rolex could stop this. They could raise their retail prices to match the gray market. They could flood the market with supply. But they don't. They keep the retail price artificially low. This protects the brand. It makes the customer feel like they won the lottery. It turns a consumer product into an investment asset. It is the ultimate marketing trick. By selling their product for less than it is worth on the open market, they ensure that the demand never dies. Rolex is not in the business of selling time. They are in the business of selling access. They built a fortress to control the supply. They built a foundry to control the material, and they built a distribution network to control the desire. They have achieved what every company dreams of. They sell a mass-produced industrial product as if it were a rare artifact. Thank you so much for watching our first episode. This was a fun piece to produce. Like these highly engineered timepieces, this story has many moving parts. Hours upon hours have gone into producing it for your entertainment. We hope you enjoyed it. If you are not already subscribed to UNSCENE Documentaries, now is your chance to do so. Until next time, goodbye.